Yeah, man. So Daryl, bro, welcome to Empty Out the Clip with Cams. You're probably wondering, what the hell, man?
What if it's a fast break? What
Man,
if it's a fast break?
This guy's coming out with so many things I can't keep up, man. But,
What's good, Oos?
everything's all good, man. I'm just happy to be talking to you about this topic right here, man. So, how's things over there in Brisbane, brother?
Oh, Brisbane, mate. No, it's good. It's good. Obviously, NZ's the travel bubble, so it would have been good to come home for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. That's soon. That's soon.
It's this week.
This week,
19th. Yeah.
So you got some more gigs over here lined up?
Nah, not no. I did advertise because I want to come home, man. I just want to come home and just, roll with the peeps. Drop some DMX.
Yeah, bro. I mean, come on, man. That was some sad news we heard in the weekend.
Yeah, man.
Like, I think it was Saturday morning our time.
Yeah.
A Friday over there in the States, that the passing of Earl Simmons.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come through because they took him off life support, and I thought, oh yeah, he must be recovering, all right.
Well, when we first heard the news, I first heard the news on social media, and like they were just saying, he might not make it, or he's brain dead, but he's stable. He's stable in the hospital, and his family's around him and that, and it then reports coming in. It was a matter of time, and then there was a report maybe on a Friday our time that he did pass away, but then it was like fake news or something.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody was pushing back, saying, "No, that's fake news. He's still alive." Yeah. But then sadly, on Saturday morning, it was all around social media that he had passed away.
Yeah.
So 50 years old, man. DMX.
Still a young buck. Still a young fella.
Yeah.
50 years old, man. Yeah, but he was going through a lot too. Like, he's been going through a lot, old DMX.
So it was over a drug overdose, apparently. And
there were rumors that some it was kind of, he wanted to, there were rumors from artists. Yeah. But yeah, I watched his older sister, that apparently they weren't that close, but she was with him by his side when he passed away, and she's on she did she talked about him on YouTube. Yeah, so yeah, pretty sad, man. Pretty sad, bro.
When I first heard the news, man, what I did was think about the songs, like especially the first thing I thought about was when I first heard them.
Yeah.
Now this was back in the late 90s, I think, and I remember back then I was a big Bad Boy fan.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of Bad Boy fans.
And at the time, because of Notorious B.I.G., he passed away, and then it was sort of like Mace. He sort of stepped in, took the front for
Mace and Puff.
Yeah, it was Mace and Puff, and I heard DMX on Mace's album actually, Harlem World.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
And so
wow, man, I get so confused there because sometimes I think some of that stuff came, but yeah, man, late 90s. Wow, man, because I kind of associate DMX with the 2000s, the early 2000s with the jazz, Ja Rule and Ashanti, but yeah, man, he was back in the late 90s,
Yeah, but I think his first album didn't come out until 98. But I think before that, he was making these appearances on all these other rap songs just to try and bring himself up.
Yeah.
So I think, so that's where I first heard him on Mace's album.
Yeah.
And man, he was different from the get-go when I first heard him, because you know his sound. Everyone knows his sound. That he's got that rough kind of voice.
Yeah. Grrr. Yeah, man. Now I used to love. The Rough Riders anthem. Rough Riders in general. Like, I was a fan of the Locks. I had their album. Just that sound, because I used to DJ at bass bar back in the 90s, and they had that real, that underground, hip hop type, hip hop scene. I was more the commercial hip hop, so I did more the commercial hip hop side of things, but But I just remember going to bass, and they dropped their that Locks album. Man, their beat and their bass spins. Oh man, they had a unique sound. It was definitely like you could tell that was street. Obviously, Puffy and Mace. Oh well, then again, Craig Mack had that kind of presence. Same with Big, but Puffy and Mace had a kind of that kind of poppy hip hop. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you were a DJ back in the days, like back in at the clubs, space bar, lounge bar, at the time, maybe the music that was going on before or around about when DMX sort of came out, because he sort of popped after 2000s, so he sort of came out
Yeah, that
97, 98, but around
yeah,
that time, it was, like you said, was more commercial hip hop at that time. It was
yeah,
more,
yeah. It's more that commercial buzz, and I mean like that. I think like that Rough Riders, that anthem, definitely in the like late like early 2000s. Like man, that popped every time I played it. Party Up in Here is pretty much the song that kind of everybody, you know, that's what I reckon really bring DMX up, because it was a party anthem, kind of like Fat Man Scoop with his stuff. So for me, like their Rough Riders anthem, I played that right up to the late '90s. Even to now, I play it, but I think I was telling you I do the set where I mute the track at certain parts in the chorus, and get the crowd participation, so they sing along, and then I drop, then I kind of do like a little scratch while the crowd's into it. I kind of do the scratch, and then drop the next song. But I can't really do that now, because when I do it, really no one knows the knows the words. But you can still do it with Juicy. You still can still the Notorious. Everyone knows the words to the Juicy, but that's another track that I used to do it with. Back in the days when I was at Lounge Bar, I used to drop it, and people were like, oh, just drop it off, and then everyone's like, stop, drop, and I cut it off. No, we don't stop, and then you know what I mean, and then I drop another beat, and then everyone's like, oh. Now I do it. Now it's like crickets.
yeah. At that time, though, when you were playing that song, Rough Riders Anthem, at the lounge bar, I mean, what was sort of like the feel in the club
Oh
at the
no,
time?
man,
Like,
good vibes, man. Like you know, bro, you dropped that song, man. It used to bang. Like it was good, man. And there's certain times in the night that you play certain songs, and that was kind of like in my crate, where I'll play it later on in the night where everyone's on the dance floor, and then you drop that track, and then everyone's it's just popping, everyone's just going off. Yeah, there's certain songs that you just know will keep the crowd going, and keep the dance floor chocked. And that was one of them. That was one of those songs, especially in the early 2000s. DMX Party Up in Here, obviously that was a banger. Um, but some of the Rough Rider stuff, like with Eve, you know. But yeah, and then Swiss obviously coming out with his stuff in the kind of late on. I wouldn't say late, but kind of around that 2002, 2003 onwards. Swiss starting to do his own thing, and creating his own sound. Um, and then that was about the time where DMX was starting to get into the movies, you know. Um, I remember that one where he did that fight scene with Jet Li.
okay, is that cradle to the grave?
Yeah,
Is that the cradle to the grave?
yeah.
Yeah, because that soundtrack brought out another one of his club bangers that X gonna give it to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So that when that came out, as a DJ, what was your perspective on DMX at the time? Like, he's always gonna come out every time he releases the album. He's gonna come out with this club banger. He's gonna at least one hit in the clubs every album he brings out.
Yeah, that early 2000s era, he was definitely like, you kind of had that vibe. He was going to be like, kind of like the next kind of Tupac,
Oh yeah.
like the 2000s version of Tupac, but just it never really came, never really came ahead. Like, I think because Tupac just, track after track after track, that whole album, and then, kind of for DMX, it kind of took a little bit of, um, after that track, kind of just didn't really take off after that.
Mm.
There was no consistency with his tracks. Maybe it could be because he was focusing on too much. But then again, Tupac was doing movies as well. He was doing the movies, plus he was doing his and he had his sound. I reckon. And then Ja Rule started popping off, and Ja Rule had that grimy voice.
Similar voice there, yeah.
Yeah. So Tupac, the bullhead, the grimy voice. DMX with the grimy voice, and Ja Rule, that was kind of that. Around that time period.
So I remember back in maybe the late 90s, that rapper Cannabis.
Yeah.
So he had that sort of like that voice as well.
Yeah.
But he didn't last long.
No, he didn't last long.
I think he came on with LL Cool J on his Phenomenon album. That's the first track DMX featured in.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Or the 4 3 2 1 song.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. I've got it. Yeah.
Sort of like compared him to a Tupac. So he's like an East Coast sort of Tupac, doing the movies, having a sort of like his style.
Yeah.
Was sort of like unique, because I remember back in the late 90s again, like it was East versus West. Yeah, Bad Boy versus Death Row. Yeah. And Bad Boy, especially, like all Puff Daddy songs, all commercial.
Yeah.
Had the shiny suits. All those videos of Hype Williams.
2001, you had Dre Up and Smoke Tour, and that Up and Smoke Tour, for West Coast. That was pretty iconic for that time, around that 2001, with that Up and Smoke Tour, that sound, and then you had Rough Riders doing the East Coast sound. Because did Bad Boy have much coming out at that time during the early 2000s?
I think that was their decline. I think slowly coming down.
Because Eve was releasing quite some club bangers.
Yeah, because I think when Rough Riders came out, they started hitting everything. Because I remember the Locks, they left Bad Boy.
Yeah.
And joined up with DMX and Rough Riders. Yeah. But when I think of DMX and his sound, like, he was so different, Like, when I talked about Bad Boy and their style of the shiny suits, and at that time hip hop was real commercial, talking about money and drinking Cristal and driving Bentleys and all that kind of stuff. But with DMX, he kept it real, with his style.
What was his? I didn't really look into it, but what was his relationship with JayZ? Were they pretty tight?
I'm not sure.
Because I read something. I didn't read something. I saw something on it, and I was gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Like, JayZ saying some stuff about, because obviously JayZ, was starting to come up in that era. He rang out that Blueprint album, East Coast. Then you had the G Unit after that. So just East Coast was popping at that time with all those groups, like those Ja Rule, Rough Riders, JayZ, G Unit.
Yeah, that's another good point, because all these groups started coming up, like you said, like Murder Inc.
Yeah, Murder Inc. That's right. Yeah,
G Unit, Rough Riders.
Yeah, and that gangster rap was like, what I mean, like you had the West Coast, but then everyone was working together. That was kind of they were still separate, but then after that, everyone started collabing. And then you had Pharrell coming onto the scene. Yeah.
I wonder if Pharrell did Pharrell do a collab with DMX? I don't know.
Nah, I don't think so. But yeah, that whole time period, you had the do-rags. And that was the Iverson, Iverson with the chains.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You had Mobb Deep. Yeah, that was the beginning of the new era, because you had the 90s. It was kind of like the Soul Train, and then you saw the transition from the 80s into the 90s. And that was kind of like the same with 90s R&B hip hop going into the new era, going from Michael Jordan to Kobe,
Yeah.
Iverson, you know what I mean? your mate Michael Jordan.
So how many do you remember how many requests you got who wanted some DMX?
To be honest, man, I didn't take requests, but I'd always play. You know, I would always like you get it. Especially, I'd say the one that got the most was Party Up in Here back when it first came out. But the anthem, you know, like you just know when to drop it. You just, as a DJ, any DJ will tell you, you just know, you just know when you see the crowd up on the floor when what tracks to drop. And definitely DMX was in there, was in that mix.
Especially that song, that Party Up in Here song, like the energy that came out of that song went onto the dance floor, and I guess it just packed the whole house out.
All the DJs used to do their little juggles to it, because the beginning was dun 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 dun, and then they'll go dun 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 dun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's got the woo, and then some DJs would just cut that and go, just doing their cut, and then just drop it. I remember Peter James when he used to do his, man, at the lounge, man. That guy was so clinical with his sets, and I used to watch him and just like pick up little tips and tricks. But yeah, that was one of the ones where he used to play around with, especially the intro of that song. And then because like as soon as you drop it, man, everyone's like, oh, everyone's on the floor or heading to the floor, and you want to kind of keep that. You want to try and keep that hype, so that's why you use the beginning to drop it again and drop it again. Yeah.
Fuck, shucks, man. Yeah, I can imagine, because I don't think you could go to any nightclub and not hear at least one of his songs in those days. You had
but
to.
I'll tell you, as I said, I still play the anthem. I hardly ever play Up in Party Up in Here. Yeah. But I still play the anthem.
Is that because it's been overplayed?
Yeah, I think it, like for me personally, I think it just got cheesy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think Fat Man Scoop's thing's cheesy as well, but I still drop it because the crowd still knows it. And the crowd still knows Party Up in Here. I mean, I drop it now and again. Like I still drop it over here, but I don't know. I think it's just me. I just like the anthem. It's kind of like a timeless track, hip hop track that I could play probably about 10 years from now, and it's still, for me, still be a banger.
One of his later tracks, Getting on the Floor.
Yeah.
How was that song? How was that song doing on the scene?
Because at that time, that was when all the Tommy the Clown and the Crump Kings and all that was coming out, and they had all those served music videos, Drumline. But they started coming out with all these dance movies.
Yeah, like Crump and all that.
yeah. Then they started touring New Zealand, So that Get on the Floor was obviously a banger for those for dancers. I just remember, like I went on tour with the Crump Kings around NZ. I mean in NZ, and they had their tracks, but I would drop that track because I do like a warm up set in the beginning. And then I'll drop their tracks, the Crump Kings tracks. So drop it, and then they do their thing, and then they do their their studio, their classes and stuff, and then we move on to the next venue, then do it over again. But that because that Get It on the Floor was popular at that time, you play all those songs, all those songs that like DMX's Party Up in Here and Get It on the Floor, and all the there was quite a few songs coming out with kind of like the same, like Joe's Pump It Up. Yeah, they're all coming out with kind of a similar sound. That was kind of like the sound that was, and I don't know whether Swiss Beats was. I didn't actually check to see if Swiss Beats was because his sound became iconic with those kind of party jams.
Yep, those party anthems,
Those party anthems in that time period, within that 2003 to 2006, 7. Yeah,
because it was around that time Nelly came out too. Well,
yeah.
Was that time he came
Grammar,
out? Yeah,
High School Grammar, bro. And they had that southern sound. And Luda came out with his sound. Oh man, bro, that was good. That was some good times.
So that was the Kobe Bryant age.
That was the Kobe Bryant,
Yeah,
Allen Iverson,
yeah. The
and
new the new coming out.
the commissioner banning t-shirts and out on the court.
In your opinion, what do you think made DMX special? Like in front of all the
It's
other
definitely
rappers,
his voice.
his
It was
voice. Yep.
definitely his voice. But to me, he kind of reminded me of Tupac. You know, always on stage with his when they did their Hail Mary. You know, when he was on stage with Dr. Dre, they spent millions hologram. You know, when you think about it, if you could put DMX there, when you know, both got tats.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I did watch this thing on him though, where he talked about the industry, and it's in his lyrics as well. He was like he was pretty deep about it, and you know there was have you heard that one where he's on stage and he just freestyles and he goes the industry and then he starts and then he
Oh
goes
yeah, yeah. I heard that. I heard that.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
that's a good one, eh?
yeah.
Because he used to do prayers as well. Prayers on the stage.
Yeah, well, when he got out of prison, he became Christian.
Mm.
Yeah, so he went into obviously prison a bit, and then came out, and then shared his testimony, and then he kind of went off the scene, like you know, went off a little, quiet there for a little bit, and then he started touring again. You know, so I don't know what, like you know, definitely, you know, he was going through some stuff. He was going through some issues, but yeah, there was a yeah time where he was Christian and you know professing his faith. Yeah,
Do you still have his music in your sets even now?
yeah. I still play I still play a lot of the Rough Rider stuff. Even if you go on my website, it's not a plug. It's www.djmixmasters.com, and you go to live. There's some sets, but I like if you scroll through it, I've still got DMX in there and a few of my sets. Yeah, he's basically like I've got a crate where I don't have to think about it. It's just basically I just dump all the songs that I think, oh yeah, I like, you know, I'll play this, and I just leave it, and I just go and basically like it's I've got them all in BPM order, but I mix them 5 or 10 different ways. But if you actually watch my sets, they're actually the same. They're just songs mixed around.
Oh yeah.
But DMX is in the rotation, definitely. I've got a couple of his songs that I play. His a lot of his stuff was in the low to mid 90s BPMs, and then obviously his more like Party Up in Here is about 100, I think it is, 102 BPM or 100 BPM, so it's a bit more faster. But I like more his slower stuff. Did I have it? I think I did use them. Like my first actual CD that I made, I used DMX in it with Nelly. I did this CD which I used to. I had the CD that I mixed. You know, back in the early mid '90s, they like I don't know if you know DJ Rectangle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Peter Guns and them used to do these mixtapes using an 8-track, and I did one. Obviously, DMX was in there. Was in there. Was in my first one. In my first album. Yeah, it's gonna be missed, man.
Yep, definitely. I got when I think of my favorite song, it's not even wasn't even a single, but it was a song on his first album,
Oh, yep.
and it was called "How's It Going Down." That was on the "It's Dark and Hell Is Hot" album.
Oh, yep. Yep.
That one was like a real slow sort of R&B
I
track.
told you. That's what I'm saying. Most of his stuff was in that low to mid '90s. Those were his good stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like. But to be honest, like all that, I like that BPM range. Like you know, Craig Mack with his grimy voice, he had a lot of good stuff that was like jockey my style. All that the beats, Meth with his grimy voice, and obviously Wu Tang they like to stay in those those bottom ranges. Ja Rule was a bit more of the mid '90s up, but yeah, I like that grimy voice with a nice crisp beat. You know, like
Yeah.
I actually think if DM, like I know he released Party Up Here and all that, that was Swiss's sound, but I think if someone else jumped on with DMX and gave him, you know, another flavor to thing over, I think he would have made some more bangers. Because there was nothing wrong with his writing. His writing was I think he made Rough Riders Anthem in like 15 minutes, recorded it once or twice or something. Wasn't released till like 3 years later or something, or 2 years later, or a year later. But I think if you worked with another producer, maybe even with Dre, maybe
Oh yeah. I can see that.
because he had Exhibit, you know.
Dre's beats would suit DMX, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if he had like Dre had some really nice beats, and just think of the. Do you remember Housewife? Dre's Housewife.
Nah.
You know no, but that beat it's got like a nice bass guitar because you know all those West Coast beats he always like it's got a really nice like funky bass. It's like dun 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 dun. If you had if like listen to the instrumental and then put DMX's voice over the top.
Housewife.
Oh, damn.
Housewife.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Housewife.
Bro, those beats in that 2001 album, man, they're like to me they're one of the best, man. Like, man, I could roll with those, bro. Like those beats are dope. Like I think I did a set the other week where I used that instrumental with Housewife, but that's what I was saying. Like with if DMX had worked with Dre, I think he would have made a banger album. You know what I mean? I don't think him and Pharrell would have worked out like his sound. Maybe nah, maybe Kanye's beats. Oh, actually Anderson .Paak, because Anderson .Paak's got
Oh yeah.
that grimy voice. You know, I like his beats. I think DMX needed something funky. You know, a bit more instruments. I didn't really like. I didn't, to be honest. Like the for his voice to complement his voice.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he had definitely a unique voice, like more grimy than Tupac, way more grimy than Ja Rule's, and his lyrics were on point. I just think he just needed a like no thing on Swiss. I mean, him and they still released some really good
Yeah.
stuff, and that was kind of like the new sound of 2000. But yeah, man, I think he needed to collaborate with other producers to really and make an album like 2001.
I'm thinking like if you were to replace Ja Rule songs with DMX, would that be the sort of songs you want to hear? DMX.
The Ja Rule's sound was more for the clubs, you know. They were kind of like the 2000 era's version of Puff Daddy and Mace, you know. You know what I mean? Like because like you play Ja Rule stuff now, what songs do people want? People don't really want to listen to.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Nah. That's the thing, because they didn't last. They've got no longevity.
Yeah.
Not like DMX does.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like at the time, Ja Rule was basically the man, you know, at that time for the clubs. You know, everywhere, like most of the tracks that came out, him and Ashanti, you know, you had to play their tracks. But now, like, I hardly ever play like Living It Up. Might play it now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's not really much tracks you can kind of,
nah.
you know, kind of say, oh, yeah, I love that track.
I've been listening to some DMX ever since he passed away.
Yeah.
Like just at work and stuff, just put the earphones on and jam some DMX. But man, for me, like, just forget how good he was, you know?
Yeah.
And how we're talking about him now, only because he passed away, but you just
That's
remember.
What I'm saying to you. Like, I'll bet you, I'll go to the, like, if I go back to a club or something, you play the first thing people are gonna say is, "Oh, can you play some DMX?"
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah,
haven't had that in years, man. Like I haven't had anyone. I don't think I've had anyone request DMX since I was at Lounge Bar. But I still play it. That's what I'm saying. It's still in my rotation. I still like DMX's sound. Like he's got his real like high like his party like where he's kind of yelling, but then the slower songs he's just talking. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Nah, he's preaching. He's talking about his life.
Yeah, but it's more of a mellow.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though it's still they got their husky, their grimy, but it's still it's mellow. You know what I mean?
And that's why I think people appreciate him, because when he's doing those tracks, he's talking about his life. He's been real about
Yeah,
things. I mentioned before, like, Bad Boy was doing all the drinking Cristal and, you know, showing their money on their music
yeah,
videos, but DMX, he wasn't. He was talking about
yeah.
life, his
They
struggles,
Yeah,
you know?
that's why the people related better. And then
Yeah.
their first video that they made with Rough Riders Anthem, where they had all the bikes,
That's
you
right.
know, they had all the bikes and they had all the people in the and it kind of made the way for this era's music when you think about it. Because when you look at because then Eve was doing the bike thing as well, when she was popping, you know what I mean? And then now you see all the there was a movie released. I think Will Smith was the uh, producer for the movie. But did you? It came out last year, but it's about basically when I looked at it, I looked at it and said, "Oh man, this reminds me of Rough Riders."
Yeah, yeah.
Because the quad bikes, the dirt bikes, you know what I mean? Because they realistically they started their whole you know kind of movement with the bikes and stuff because Baltimore was really into their bikes and stuff. But this movie is based in Baltimore, so it's about these kids that about their bike culture, and they kind of reminded me of Rough Riders. Even the camera, like the way the camera is filming everything, is like you're looking at. You could probably take that music clip and put it in that movie. You know what I mean? It was yeah, they started that whole culture, that whole you know for the people.
Because if you think about all those rap artists now, like even the trap music, and you see their video clips, they're on bikes, man.
Yeah,
Hey, they're riding
yeah.
bikes and doing their
That was the
wheelies
Rough
and all
Riders.
that.
They're the originals, man.
I mean, the Rough Riders were doing it back in the early 2000s, you know?
Yeah, man.
I mean,
That was the Rough Riders Anthems video
yeah,
where they just told people to come out and just ride. You know,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
definitely.
The quads.
Nah, man, for me, DMX was like, he was like the closest thing hip hop got to heavy metal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like, when DMX spit his rhymes, man, he was like angry, he was aggressive, you know? And man, and he hyped you up like that, you know?
yeah. I mean, like Exhibit did that one with Limp Bizkit,
Oh, yeah.
and like he's also got that kind of husky voice, grimy voice as well. So yeah, how you're saying, with the metal, because like they're kind of an alternative rock, rap, rap group,
Mm.
rock group. Maybe if he collabed a bit more, you know, kind of ventured out. Because I actually like that. So the remix version to Limp Bizkit's Limp Bizkit and Exhibit.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
they did like they did the whole band thing, and then they did a remix. And I don't know who produced. I don't know if Dre produced it, but man, that beat, yeah, man. If you had probably, yeah, but I'm telling you, man, if DMX and Dre hooked up, he probably would have been in the Up and Smoke tour, bro.
Do you remember the best DMX song to mix with? You mentioned the juggling around with Up in Here,
Yeah,
but when I think about the start of the songs, I really like X Gonna Give It To You. Because if you
yeah,
remember how it starts, it's slow, starts slow, and then it just
yeah,
picks up, and then it drops when the song starts.
yeah. It's kind of like it goes dun dun dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun.
dun
Yeah, yeah,
dun
yeah,
dun
yeah,
dun
yeah,
dun dun dun. And then it goes, X gonna give it to you.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
like to be honest, I probably would have started from the X.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I would have just cut. I just would have just cut, fade out the other side, and then cut that in.
Yeah.
So it's X gonna give it to you.
because I mean I don't know anything about being a DJ, but for you, like when you're gonna cut in a DMX song, what would be the best song to bring him in with?
Oh, this is one he did. Don't know what it's. Don't know what it's like. It's got. I forgot the name of the song. It's about. It is a slow song of his, but it's like I mix it all the time. It's in my rotation. But it just starts off with. It just starts like I like. There's not really a intro to it. There's not like an instrumental in the beginning, so there's no lead up. It just basically goes straight from the vocal. So you go straight from the vocal, and then I just cut that. So like I'll fade out, just like I see, like that X gonna give it, how you drop. I'll do the same thing on that track, and then I'll have the other side ready, and I'll cut that in, and I just go back, and then I just do like a little juggle, and then just let the song play. I don't play it too long, but you could do the same with X gonna give it to you, because that's basically where it starts. It's gonna give it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was actually quite a lot of songs where I'd use his vocals, because like his because it's has got such a bassy voice. When your cut is kind of like you're cutting on the bass beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, especially with that X gonna give it to you with the trumpet. So it's like when he like obviously he starts banging on that trumpet, boom, like he starts spitting over that trumpet, and then so you've got that. So when you can cut it up, because it's kind of like a little bit of a drag on that sound. So you can kind of like tear it up a little bit, drop it, and then get it ready, and then do it again. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah, but with that Rough Riders anthem, you just play it straight from the dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun, and then dun 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 dun, stop, drop.
That's called a drop mix, eh? Is it when you drop the song straight on you don't mix it? Like you just drop it on something else?
You just drop it, just
yeah.
Cut and drop, bang, cut and drop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So would you only do that with Rough Riders Anthem? Would that be the best song to do that with?
No. With the anthem, you'd mix that trumpet. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so you just like cut it, dun, dun, and then just. I think it was like, so it goes in like 32 bars. So you'd play. I think that intro bit is only 8 bars. So you that you have to play 8 bars before it comes to the end of that song that you're mixing to, end of that chorus, and then it goes boom, boom, straight into that. Yeah, man. I could just see Swiss too, like in the studio banging, like when he's like pushing when he's using his MPC, and he's like adding those beats, those drums, and he's probably like, oh yeah, But like as I said, DMX didn't even like that song.
Yeah, that was one of the things, eh?
Yeah.
That was one of the things he.
But then again, all the good artists, like Juicy, like Biggie, remember in the movie?
Yeah, he didn't like it.
He didn't like it. So all their like big hits, they don't like that. Obviously become bangers and anthems.
Yeah, with DMX, he didn't like his most famous songs, but he appreciated that it brought more people to like his music, and to look for his other songs that are on his albums and that, because he was real into like telling his life story. Yeah,
he was really close with Aaliyah. Remember that tribute that they did with Aaliyah, and so what is it? He was a skux, he was a skux back in his days, because he was really close with Aaliyah. Did they grow up? No, because she's from Atlanta. Where's DMX from?
New York, Yonkers.
Is Aaliyah from Atlanta or she's East? I know she's East Coast, but where's she from? Or they probably just became close on what is it? Oh, because I didn't even know what's her name. Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union was really close with DMX.
Oh yeah. Aaliyah. She's from Brooklyn.
Oh, she's from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Are they around the same age?
She's DMX is 9 years older.
Oh, that's right, because he's 50. Yeah, that's right. She's our age. Eh?
Yeah.
Or she's a little bit older than us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Before we go, I wanted to know your number one DMX song.
Oh, it's got to be the Anthem, bro. Rough Riders Anthem. Because I still, I dropped it. That's probably the one song that I think, what's his name? Swiss got it right with DMX.
Oh yeah, even though DMX didn't like it, but he got it right.
He got it right. He got it right for that one song.
Do you have any particular memory of playing that song at a club? Any story? Some cool thing when you played that song anywhere?
I would just say the lounge bar, man, would probably be that. When I used to do that like take out the track and let the crowd participate with it and just like call out the chorus. I think there was one time where I did it and they pretty much sung the whole chorus.
Oh,
yeah. Like I just dropped it out and they just pretty much sung the whole chorus.
With the N-word and everything.
With everything. I to be honest, I play the clean version. It was funny though because like one of the boys at ITH goes to me. It's the first time I've ever heard a clean version of that track, and there was hit 'em up too because I had the clean version. I've got clean versions of pretty much all the songs, and hit 'em up. I've got the clean version to hit 'em up.
Well, were you playing the clean versions at baseball? Because they don't care in baseball. You can just play whatever you want.
I think so. I can't remember. I think I did, bro.
You know, I remember baseball, man. I remember walking out, your clothes smelling like cigarettes, man.
Hey?
I remember every time you walk out of baseball or any club in town, you just walk out smelling like cigarettes.
I smell like cigarettes every night. Like every night I played, man, it was so bad, bro. And I remember I used to like they had two shifts. So if I did the late shifts from 2:30 to 6, and then so I start at 2:30, finish at 6, rush home, jump into bed for like 10 minutes, and then have to go to work. It's like,
shit. Because I can't. Right now I can't imagine smoking inside a nightclub.
Yeah, I know.
And a bar, I can't now. But back then it was normal.
Yeah, I know. I think you can still do it in Vegas. I think you can still do it at casinos. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But over, man. That was like those days, bro. It was just like, man.
I mean, actually,
even were you around when they used to smoke on the planes?
No, but I remember the ashtrays at McDonald's.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The round silver, the gold ashtrays at McDonald's. I remember going to McDonald's in Henderson Square, down the bottom.
Oh yeah, down the bottom.
And I was a kid. Go for my mum and dad, and like my dad will sit down and have a cigarette, and have the ashtray on the table and stuff.
Old Henderson Square, mate. And they had Sterling Sports. Remember they had Sterling Sports in the corner, and then you go to Sterling Sports and say, "Can I put those shoes on lay-by, please?" They paid $20 a week until it's paid off.
I think you'll be frequenting that day. Sterling Sports and ECM next door.
Oh yeah. Was it ECM?
Yeah. And
there was Sounds, eh? So there was Sounds in Newland, and ECM like next door. Yeah. I remember there was a shop down the corner. You know how you used to walk around and then there was like that sewing shop, and then they closed the shop. I think it was Woodcourse. I can't remember. They closed the shop, and then they had like these cassette tapes like Michael Jackson and all that, and you'd go and you'd see the price, and you just like scratch off the sticker. They grabbed $2.89, put it on there, go to the thing, one of these cassette tapes. That'd be Michael Jackson for $2.99. Oh.
Those ones.
Those ones. Hey, I got a hiding from the lady at the Toy World shop because I saw this kid. He grabs a bag, right, and he puts all these toys in it. You know, and I didn't know, but like back then I think I was about 6 or 7, can't remember. And then so I went and did the same thing. I went and filled up the bag full of clay, and then I went up and I gave her my $2 for the bag. And she looked inside and she grabbed my hair and she shook it. Because the other kid that did it, his parents probably paid for all the toys that were in the bag. but I thought, oh, you must be able to fill the bag up and then just pay for the bags. That's right.
Man, you must have been a bit of a gangster back in the days.
Henderson Square was my hood, bro. I was the DMX of Henderson Square, bro.